Hello, my friends. My name is Joe Theodore, astrologer and teacher, and welcome to this video on Gemini rising. So if you're a Gemini rising, this video is for you. If you're just someone curious about Gemini risings, this video is also for you. And yeah, if you're new to my face, my channel, maybe consider subscribing if you find this video enjoyable. Usually I post one video a week on Sundays, but I am starting to do more teaching here. It's been a long time coming, but I also am a teacher, of course. So yeah, this is the second series that I'm doing. The first series is already up and running. It's a moon series, actually, with very detailed explanations of the moon signs. The rising signs are a little bit shorter in nature, as you could tell probably by the timestamp of this video. The moon for me is just a little bit more, it's a much deeper part of our life. And the rising sign is, yes, very important. It is a part of our big three. But in my opinion, the moon is just a little bit more important as far as trying to explain the depths of what the moon is in our life. The rising sign is where people see us, though, right? The rising sign is the first impression we give to the world. I utilize whole sign houses because I practice traditional and modern astrology to a degree, evolutionary astrology. But traditional astrology is kind of how I go about viewing rising signs, if we just want to say it bluntly. Like, of course, we have an ascendant degree, but all of the first house is what makes up the rising sign to me. So it's very easy when working with whole sign houses that we just immediately know what zodiac sign we're dealing with. There's no in-betweens, there's no cusps. If you're a Gemini rising, your entire first house is Gemini. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is just talk about Gemini, right? So for anyone who is still kind of like understanding more about Gemini, or if you just want to know my take on Gemini, I'm going to offer you some insights on how I view Gemini. I'm a Gemini moon, so I should know this topic very well. And then also the first house, right? So we're going to go over what I believe the first house to be, how I really see that playing out in our everyday experience. And yeah, my friends, that's kind of how these rising sign videos go. So Gemini. Mutable air, okay? Mutable means what? Mutable in the shortest of words means unpredictable. Chaos, okay? Mutable means it's all over the place, which also means that when we talk about a planet or a sign such as Gemini ruled by Mercury, we're talking about the intellect, the mind, we're talking about the ability to integrate communication at rapid speed. We love to communicate. Rising signs love to communicate. And we're talking about this understanding of flexibility, adaptability, and swift movement when it comes to our thought process and the way we wish to communicate. So this can translate into all forms of behaviors, of course. And Geminis get kind of a bad rap sometimes for being flaky and just sort of like here one minute and gone the next. And there's a lot of truth to that, sure. But, you know, a lot of people have Gemini placements in their lives and they're not necessarily risings or moons or suns for that matter. But mutability, essentially coming back to that, is really just this unpredictable nature, right? And mutability can be used to solve problems rapid fire speed. Mutability is brilliant for learning new things. Being mutable means that you are willing to change. You are open to change. You are not so fixed in your views like a Scorpio energy. Scorpio is fixed water, or a Leo energy, which is fixed fire. We're talking about mutability. We're talking about being flexible, being adaptable, right? So that's really important to keep in mind with Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, like we just said. So if you are a Gemini rising, your chart ruler is Mercury, which means the Mercury aspects of you, people are really going to see you for your mercurial nature, which is being someone who is known to be a writer, a speaker, someone who is very social, someone who may be a thinker, right? And a thinker in a way where this this type of person might be very open to changing their thoughts, not so fixed in their views, right? So Gemini risings are beautiful for keeping themselves open, keeping themselves receptive to new information. And it is because of this nature that they are able to learn so much, right? So rising sign, again, we're talking about the first house of self, the identity, the body. We're talking about where people see you in this world. The first impression we give to the world is our rising sign. So people might know you and see you as someone who is a very good communicator, someone who is always reading, someone who is always socializing, someone who can blend in with any crowd and just want to understand and learn and speak and just integrate everything they can. Geminis are very, very good at absorbing information, right? Can they retain it? Can they really find the substance and the meat in it? That's up for debate. But Gemini risings are very much known straight off the bat for their ability to communicate, to speak. Even if you see someone who is constantly writing, if they're always known to be like, oh, that's so-and-so over there, they're always writing, they always have a notepad, they're always writing stuff down, they're always reading, they're always wanting to share their ideas. That's Gemini rising, right? And that also could be Sagittarius rising, which I already made a video on, or it should be available now if you're watching this in the future, because Sagittarius is a philosopher, right? We're talking about mutable fire, right? Open, receptive, wanting to learn a lot and share a lot. So Geminis and Sagittarius, based upon that mutable energy, they have a lot in common in a way, especially because they're both very much tied to expansion of thought and understanding. Even though Gemini, Gemini, again, is a little bit more superficial, right? More social, more just wanting to learn a little bit of everything. And like, do we really integrate and keep things that are of substance, or do we not, right? But Geminis are brilliant because they can learn very quickly and they are very intellectual. And we cannot sleep on Gemini for being extremely intelligent and extremely adaptable. So these are qualities we all need. And the rising sign is how you are seen in the world for that quality. Now, when it comes to our rising signs, we need to learn to embrace that, right? Because if we just start pretending we're something we're not, then destiny and our fate and destiny will cloud our future. So when it comes to being a Gemini rising, you need to embrace that, right? If people know you to be a communicator, if people know you to be social, if people know you to be friendly and wanting to always like share things with other people, that's a good cue, along with working whatever your moon sign is, which is your mind, more about your true nature of thinking and your emotional system, and your sun, where you're meant to be shining in this life. If you know how to embrace your rising nature, your Gemini rising nature, you can already start to slowly unfold life for yourself in the way that it's meant to unfold. Because I truly believe that the more we are in tune with our natural frequency and innate qualities, the more destiny opens itself up for us effortlessly, right? So you really need to be aware of how you are as a Gemini rising and to not shortchange yourself, right? Like a Gemini rising really would not do well just sitting in a room punching numbers, right? That would be more, I would say, Virgo. But we're talking about Gemini, needs to be in the action, needs to be just constantly doing something. And that's very important to keep in mind as you make choices in your life, right? So the rising sign is a very important part of your life. And the ruler of the rising sign is your chart ruler. So you, my friends, are ruled by Mercury. So look to see where Mercury is in your birth chart. Look to see what that's all about, because there's also a very powerful link to your rising sign. And that's also very important to note about rising signs, is that wherever your chart ruler is, that story plays a big, big role for what your identity is all about, right? So that's something we always must consider, my friends. All right, well, that's all I have for you today. I hope that this short video was insightful. And if you're new, I hope you could like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely leave your thoughts on your experience as a rising sign Gemini. And I'll see you in the next video.